If I'd have known back then what I know now, I wouldn't have been so scared. See, this is my truth. In the quiet of the early morning, when the world seems paused, a break between sleeping and waking, I used to sit and think about my workday ahead. And there was excitement, for sure, this sense of momentum, the knowledge that in the forestry sector we're doing beautiful work, strong work. It's landscape changing, life changing, generationally changing. But there was also this sense of unease, this deep-rooted unease that sat at my very core, my womanhood that whispered to me in that muted half-light, is there really space for you here? Because at times it was overwhelming being the only woman in a team of men. Nice men, generous men, supportive men, but men. All the time, always, and in an organisation that felt so masculine, in an organisation that asked me to wear their uniform, but had nothing at that time for women. Nothing to account for my curves, my stature, my height, and years later, nothing that fit my body as I grew my children. See, who needs maternity gear in a team of men? And that voice, it continued to whisper to me, and it scared me. You are different, it said. You are an exception, an oddity. You are ultimately unwelcome. A square peg in a round hole, an oak tree in a spruce forest. But not oak, because that would imply strength, a thick trunk and deep roots, and I felt anything but that. Perhaps a pine sapling in a spruce forest, single among monoculture, unlikely to make it to maturity, and if I did, different. If I'd have known back then what I know now, then I would have spent every day speaking up. I wouldn't have silenced my voice for the fear that I was different or less. I wouldn't have laughed, albeit nervously, at a sexist joke or comment made at women's expense. It's only banter, they'd say, as another comment was made about a maternity leave in the admin team. I could fly under the radar, a girl in ill-fitting male clothing. But then it came for me, a comment made in jest. Well, Kate won't be with us for long, she'll get pregnant soon. Laughs around the room. Some pathetic glances from some, eye contact avoidance from most. But for me, that whispering voice of my pine sapling deep inside, how long can you pretend that this is a place where you can grow and thrive and be everything you want to be? If I'd have known back then what I know now, then I would have spent every day encouraging women to join us. Those teenage girls that would ask me about my job. I'm a forester, I'd say, nervously. I'm not quite sure how I got there. It's mainly men. It was like word vomit. I couldn't stop. My line manager's a man. My mentor's a man. There's a female head of HR, but that's it. It was like I was screaming it, but not screaming it. Don't join us. You'll be an oddity, an exception, a pine sapling among mature spruce. Do you want that life? Do I want that life? If I'd have known back then what I know now, then I wouldn't have worried. Time, with its habit of unfurling and moving and extending, passed. And as time built up, so did my confidence, my sense of self, my sense of belonging, my ownership of the sector. And I realised that the fast-moving waters of time didn't erode me, but shaped me, straightened me, guided my path through an unforgiving landscape to here, today. And it happened, gradually, slowly, almost unnoticeably, but it happened that I looked around one day and realised that that spruce forest had changed. New, exciting, different species, more pine saplings, yes, but larch, beech, birch. Those mature spruce trees no longer dominated, and it was for the better. A more resilient landscape, a less harsh landscape, a place where anyone could be who they needed to be. And if I'd have known back then what I know now, then perhaps I would have seen that I was that oak tree all along. Not deep roots, but strong roots, unwavering, refusing to leave or conform, making my own space. And realising too that space had already been made for me, a journey that started with the lumberjills and continues now with us, a journey of hope, of pride, of hard work, pride in being different, in being female, and most of all, pride in making space for future generations of women. That step of female corporate clothing, might seem like small to some, but was huge to me. And a realization too that I was never the only one that was different in that spruce forest. There were others who were working tirelessly to make change, to fight discrimination and prejudice. It was my perception that hid them from my sight. That same whispering voice in muted half-light that told me I was different and alone is the same voice that separated us. We were never alone. We worked together in tandem to create this industry. And so now, in that quiet of the early morning, in muted half-light, when I sit and I consider my day ahead, there is no whispering voice, except perhaps that of my 4-year-old daughter, who says, "Mummy, when I grow up, I want to be a forester like you."